Hello, it's Cortney with balancewithcourtney.com. I am passionate about helping others discover their happy and inspire them to make it a daily habit. My intention is to hack happy by interviewing experts to share their stories, to inspire others and create a happy movement. Today's happy expert is Ryan Charaba with First Wake Ups. Ryan is a husband, father, love and relationship coach, podcaster, and retired Navy chief. His life work is to inspire people to create homes and communities of openness and authentic sharing. His work is all about people displaying courage by sharing every facet of their life, not only to release them, but to realize how much of the stuff we hide is the very same stuff that makes us incredible and powerful. These same shared experiences are also one of the most effective ways to connect to us and one another as human beings. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome.
I appreciate it so much.
Beautiful intro. Beautiful.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. It's good. I gotta go ahead. No, it was an opportunity to update it. It was good. So I'm gonna,
good.
that's like officially my new bio. So
There you go. We're constantly reinventing, aren't we?
constantly reinventing. Yeah, it was perfect.
So please share how you found your happy.
Oh man. So I'm gonna start on a date, the 27th of March of 2015. So 3.5 years ago, I was still in the Navy. I'd been in the Navy for about 17 years. And for a long time of that 17 years, I was like, I do not want to be here. I don't want to be doing this job. I really like certain points of it, yet the direction in general that the military goes is just a direction that I never really felt powerfully connected to, and stayed in so much because I wanted to help other sailors be the best versions of themselves. But I didn't realize for a really long time that by me staying in the same exact institution that I didn't align with was kind of in contradiction to my work. And so like over time that like kind of beat me down. And I, through a couple times during that career, had really strong bouts of depression and considered driving my truck off a cliff, very literally, like in two different spots in my life I'd picked out. And so on the 27th of March, 2015, I was a Navy chief, and I had an altercation with one of my 8 bosses, and I was just like, something snapped. It was like, just like the movie Jerry Maguire. I was like, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm walking off the ship. I'm not coming back. Who wants to come with me? Like very, very, like I'm leaving. And they were like, you can't leave. You're in the military. You have a contract. Da, 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 da. I was like, it's not true. That's just made up. I was like, I've quit. I'm not doing it anymore. And it was like this thing, like, you're not allowed to quit, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. I was like, nope. I said, this is a lie that we've been telling ourselves forever. And it's just not true. And it was just like something snapped, and I was like, I have to quit in the job that you're not allowed to quit to prove that, like, that literally you can do anything you want, you know? And so that was about 17 and a half years of my career. And so the next morning I knocked on the captain's door and I was like, I gotta go. I'm not able to physically do this anymore. And I was like crying in this man's office, you know, like just, and it was like, again, that dichotomy, like the feeling of shame for not being able to suck it up, as men so eloquently put, but at the same time, like really knowing that all the stuff that's kind of rushing out of me at that moment was the absolute right thing to do, because my life was going to end otherwise, you know? And so walking off the boat that day, like I just remember like all this, like I could just feel it like a fountain, like shooting out of me, like the stress and anxiety and just feeling so light and like free in that moment. And that was the deciding factor. Is like, Ryan, if you're going to continue being happy and being who you are, you have to be as honest as possible with everybody as much as possible all the time. And so like, that's just been my thing. So that week, like that next week, people reaching out, I can't believe you're leaving. Oh man, you totally showed them. It was like this 50-50 split. like, good on you for standing up for yourself, and you're a coward for leaving. Like this very, very 50-50 split. And it was an extremely emotional time. And the next year was really, really challenging with the ups and downs and kind of figuring out what it was and who I am and what to let go of and what to hold on to. And I learned so much about my self-worth and or the lack thereof, and how it was attached to a uniform I wore, or what gym that I worked out at, or how many push-ups I could do, or how many, like this big false sense of masculinity that's just kind of, I feel in a way shifting in a different direction. And really allowing, for example, like one of my best friends called me and told me that I was a coward for leaving. And I remember being so angry. And yet, like, as the time goes by, I think back to that phone call often and being so thankful for it now, because I know that judgment of his has nothing to do with me, because I know for a fact that going into that room and knocking on that door and shedding my emotions and just letting it all out was the bravest thing that I've ever done, like, to this date. And it's just like building off of that event. And just being able to do, and to kind of still give that person love, and then just to let him go, be like, you were on my journey for a reason, and our journey ended that day and together, and let him go in his separate way, and then me carrying on my separate way. And just like metaphorically using that as like a guidepost, like, where am I walking on my path? Who do I want to take with me? Who do I want to not take with me? And that who can pertain to items as well in your life, and ideologies and feelings and beliefs and values that this value completely served me up into this point, but if I continue to value this, it's actually detrimental to the current path that I'm walking on right now. And so just being able to really, really notice what is and isn't working, and being able to, like, gratefully just let go of things when it no longer works. And I mean, I talk about this all the time in my work, and it's just like really, really letting people know that for 35 years up until that point, whatever I was doing worked for me. It kept me alive. It kept me safe. But then up to that point, as soon as I knocked on the door, I had to leave that person behind, and I had to leave it in that room. And that's why it was such a powerful outrushing of emotion and tears. And like, I remember like laughing and crying like at the same time, because it was just, that pull of two different directions wanting to go so powerfully. So I hope that answers your question in long form.
Absolutely.
But it's just like a constant, it's less seeking balance and more seeking to be able to constantly adjust, even to the smallest points. And sometimes if you realize you're tilting a little farther, like there's value in that as well to be learned. Right. And just to kind of be with it all. Yeah. So that's my practice up to this point. And that was 3.5 years ago. And here I am. And,
none of these big decisions were all internal. None of it was external, pushing you to go another way. And you just took one big leap, and you had no idea what was on the other side.
No idea at all. And the stuff that happens was always, looking back at it now, it's like, there's that saying, like, you can only connect the dots, like looking behind you. And I have a colleague here in Hawaii. I don't know if you know Brandy Joe. We did this exercise together once. And we just took a blank piece of paper and we wrote our birth date, like on one side, we wrote today's date, and then we just wrote down all the events that we could think of in between, like, oh, my parents getting divorced, or me joining the Navy, or me getting married, or me having children, or whatever it was, me leaving the boat. And just looking at the themes that you see pop up and how we've always been this powerful version of who we are. And we've always been wanting to do these great things. It's just we're hiding behind so much stuff that it's so hard to see. Yeah. But our true selves are always trying to come out. And so the more I notice that everything is like kind of set up perfectly, I mean, this interview is going to create something. I don't know what it is yet, but I know it's going to. And the way that we've got here, it's just like, so when something like fantastically amazing happens, it's like, of course that happens. Like, this is how it happens.
Yes.
Everything's set up for us to succeed.
Yes.
And like almost practicing to not be surprised anymore.
Yes.
Because I believe that even letting go of like that elation is a good practice as well. So that when something amazing happens or something awful happens, or our judgment of either, that we can just still be even and present in spite of whatever the event is. Yeah. And so really just, so, and I guess it's just more of that fine tuning adjustment and being able to respond to these triggers or activations, whatever the cool word is now, instead of reacting to it. So
yes, as humans, we're always searching for an instruction book, and the more growing we do, we realize it's inside. All our answers are inside. We just need to quiet everything out in the external world so we actually listen, believe in ourselves, and trust. Who knew it was always
That's all, everybody. That's it. That's it.
Mic drop. Thanks, ready to go home.
Yep. That's it. That's the thing, and it's a practice. Trusting yourself is not easy because we're so good at looking at all of the bad data. Oh, well, I screwed that up. Well, I screwed that up. Well, I screwed that up. Well, you're still here. Being awesome. Like, so that was part of it. Like, what did you learn from that bad data? What did you learn from that bad data? What did you learn? Oh, it's not bad data. It's just data. It's just feedback. It's just an opportunity to learn. And, and it's my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
You're just doing research.
It's just research and just, this is my dissertation. This is what I think today with my current experiences and my current level of awareness of self. Yes. And tomorrow I'm going to turn it an entirely different paper because it's going to be different.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Exactly.
I see in politics will be like, well, this politician said this 15 years ago. I'll be like, yeah, it was 15 years ago. Like, things change. Like, get over it. Like, learn to like let them be and evolve, because you want people to let you be and evolve. Let everybody be and evolve.
Yes.
So it's like the most powerful thing to give yourself permission to do that. So
exactly. Freeing. So will you define what being happy means to you?
That's a good question. Being happy for me is more about the freedom of sharing who I am with whomever is around, and the practice of not letting their reactions or responses to that affect me. It's just being able to wherever I'm at, spreading my wings or pulling them back in to give other people space, and being completely okay with whatever the return is. I can go back to my buddy calling me a coward on the phone call. Like, I think I am so grateful for that phone call and so grateful for that reflection. And just being able to know who I am in spite of how everybody else perceives me. And it's just because I know now that that's just part of their package. That's their experience. That's their awareness of self. And I'm just a projection of that. And so, that's the best way that I could define that now in this moment. Sorry, I'm going to turn my Bluetooth off on my phone so it doesn't ring and interrupt us. Okay, I'm back.
So how less energy does that take? Because, the old us, we would put on this mask and then we'd go out into the world. We had to prep to do anything. Now we can just go out and be authentically us.
So how much energy does that take?
Less.
How much less energy? Oh my goodness. Yeah, way less. And so one of the things I want to remind people to really take away is that practicing self-awareness and practicing self-love is no different than learning to swing a golf club. It's no different than learning to shoot a free throw or bake muffins or, cook a roast for Christmas. It's the first time you do it, it's going to be shaky and weird, and it's going to take a lot of focus and noticing. And then all of a sudden, the more you do it, the more day in, day out practice you do it, the more you're just like, I got this. Like it just becomes normal. And then once you're to that level and once it's become normal, then you can actively seek out the new challenges instead of like always feeling that you're being bombarded by life. Like once you can be like, okay, I'm being bombarded by whatever. Let's tackle and accomplish and overcome whatever. Let's just do that one thing small.
Right.
Simple, not easy.
Right.
So, and then once you've got that, you're like, it's like, building a brick wall. You build that base, that foundation.
Mm.
And once you've done that and you're like, oh, everything's kind of calm and quiet right now. Okay, sweet. Now that it's calm and quiet, go actively pick out intentionally what you want to tackle and make unquiet next.
Yes.
So that the world or the universe or whatever is not choosing for you per se.
Yeah, once we create that foundation, we can always go back to it. It's always there for us. It's just getting back in alignment.
Yeah, it is. It's 100%. It's just, okay, something's weird. What can I adjust? What small adjustment? And it's very rarely anything massive. It's very rarely massive. I'd say 4 or 5 times in your life, you're going to like up and quit the job like I did. Like, like if I go over the events, like 1, 2, it's like 3 or 4 things. Those like massive, like crashes, But I think that those happen by some form of attrition. It's like, okay, like there's 2 ways to learn lessons. You can either let the storm beat you down until it's like, okay, this is what we're doing. I.e. in the case of, and I believe that that's what happened. Like I stayed in the Navy for 20 years and at 17 and a half, even though at like year 2, I wanted to be done with it. I stayed for 15 years because I needed to allow myself to get beat down and break. Yes. And like have a complete crash. Because I think there's some lessons you aren't able to learn until you break down, until you've been at the bottom.
That's when you get the breakthrough.
That's when you get the break. Yeah. And to, in a way, recontextualize that so that you can, when you feel challenged or stress or you're crying and your hands are in your face, you can be like, you could actually get excited about that because you're like, oh, something amazing is about to happen. Something's changing. An old version of me that's no longer necessary is dying or falling away, or however you want to describe it.
Yeah. So when you're not feeling you're happy, how do you get back in alignment? What tips and tools can you give others?
I tell my wife the truth. And this goes back to the honesty for me. I retired from the Navy 16 months ago, and I didn't even apply for new jobs. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to work for myself forever for the rest of my life. And that's challenging because being an entrepreneur, it's like that. It's just like that cycle in the waves. I'm the most amazing person in the world. I'm terrible at this, blah, 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 blah. And it's just about sharing that and letting it out and just being able to process, be like, man, I'm feeling really bummed out right now. I don't know, I'm going to pay the rent on the 1st or whatever it is. And having the courage to let go of your ego, because it's like a line right between ego and pride and courage. Pride and courage is like the line right in the middle of it. And so just being able to let that go and tell somebody the truth. And so that's the first thing. My wife, I tell her, hey, babe, and sometimes it takes me a couple days to do it. But it's just, when it happens, it means you're ready. So just be like, hey, I'm really bummed out about this. I'm feeling really nervous about this. And then it gives us both an opportunity to be the leader in those events. Because one of the things that I learned the hard way in the military is that it's like, you always got to be standing up, always got to be strong, always got to put on this brave face. And it's never okay to be like, I need somebody else to take the lead for a little bit because I'm not my best today, or my best isn't up to standards, or however you want to describe that. And so it's just being able to exchange leaderships, being like, hey, I need you to take the lead today on this, or I just need to tell you this so that you can share your experience and how you overcame it so that I can become inspired. And then again, like to spark that lesson or the answer to that problem. Like it's, but I think by sharing the shit, like it getting it out, it like uncovers the answer right there. Oh, now that I've said this, I know what to do, and then go accomplish it.
Right.
And so it's just, I think 100% being you and sharing with others who you are. Yes. That's how I do it. And today I felt inspired to, I think the last couple of days I've just been doing like, I felt really powerful in my work. And I've just noticed a bunch of stuff from other people that I've learned over the past few years. And I just like shoot a message. Thank you so much for teaching me this thing. Thank you so much. I did not agree with you about this, on that. I appreciate it now because I wasn't ready to notice it then. And like allow that. And like sometimes like that, like acknowledging somebody who challenged you really, really strongly years ago is just a benign example yet. It's just like that's a pride thing of like admittance to how that they positively, like they were a solid marking stone on your journey. And just to, you know, just like that practice is however you feel you can be open to somebody else. Like that's just, sometimes that's gratitude. Sometimes it's releasing your sorrows or your shame. And it comes in all different forms. And just to, every day, practice that every single day.
Yeah, I love how
and
you.
Also,
sorry, we're both so
one
excited.
No, it's okay. And the one other thing is to acknowledge that sometimes it just sucks.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it has to be hard so we can learn.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I'm done.
I just wanted to quote something you said that hit home for me in one of the wake up mornings, I think it was, on your Facebook page. And you said, keep telling your story till it's just a story.
Just a story.
It hit me so hard. You know, I mean, when we tell our story, we're inspiring others, but we're constantly healing every time we tell our story. And before you know it, it's just going to be a past memory.
And you never know whose life you're going to save by sharing your story.
Yes.
You never know. There is somebody out there somewhere. It could be Janet, the checkout lady at Foodland. Like you go through, how are you doing today? Like, and actually meaning that question and sharing who you are with that person. Like that could be the spark that you need to like save that person.
Yes.
You know, metaphorically, whatever that means for them. Yes. That was in my talk that I did in UCLA. That was just share it over and over and over. Share it again and again until it's just that story.
It's just a story.
Yeah. That's just a story.
And you pretty much answered this, but you might have some more tips. How do you maintain your happy and make it a daily habit?
So I see all these like super high energy, high power coaches, as I'm sure you see because we're in that circle all over social media. And they talk about morning routines. Get up, drink a liter of water, eat some healthy fats, go for a jog around the block. I was like, that doesn't happen in my house because my daughter wakes me up. And sometimes she's an absolute joy and sometimes she's an absolute terror. And it's just to kind of honor that cycle and to like start intentionally with that, like start the day intentionally. Because I know that there's other coaches out there too. And I believe in this. It's just really hard to do effectively a lot. It's just like, wake up and give yourself 30 minutes for just you before you do anything else. And I'm like, I don't know what world you live in. And so I believe it's that you time where you're just like, okay, I have 2 minutes right now. I'm going to breathe. What do I want to accomplish today? Hey, I think you're really awesome. And it's just taking that time for you when you can. And when you're not able to, acknowledge that this is still for you. I had a baby girl. I had a second baby girl. My son is 17. Those are all choices. And like, this is for me, my son, who's going to be 18 in March, like is my most powerful teacher of me, is what I want to be as a man. Like he is the absolute most powerful thing. So even though I may need to tend to him, like I get to change the context that is still me time. It's still for me. And so it's just always checking into, even though it hurts or even though it's massive joy or whatever it is, what am I learning from this? How can I be better? And then to give myself grace and compassion to myself when I'm kind of a shit show, you know, because we all go through that. We all do it. Like something will happen today for either me or you. And we're going to be like, it's just, that's the likelihood of being human. And it's, you know, to just lean into that. And, you know, sometimes we have days that are like, oh my goodness, that was the most amazing day ever. And then you hit the pillow and you wake up the next day and it's completely opposite. And it's just part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah. And you know, if we had those amazing days every day, they wouldn't be amazing anymore.
No, they wouldn't. I think it would ruin our experience here.
Yeah.
you know, whatever this place is. It would ruin the experience. If we were to break that code to just be like all the time, it wouldn't even be fun. We'd be bored. Be like, all right, time to go. Let's go find the new thing. Because the challenge as humans is what
So true.
drives us. We found that, you know.
I'm getting a little internet interruption here. I'm so sorry.
That's mine too. No, it was on my end too. I never know. I'm in Hawaii, so it's far away. So.
And we travel and we don't know what RV park has good Wi-Fi or not. So it's up in the air.
Where are you at right now?
Right now we're in Arizona. It's called Ehrenberg, Arizona, and we're staying at a beautiful place on the Cedar River.
Nice.
Yeah.
My wife and I see this map, and maybe this is off point, but it's something that we want to do. It's like this map that draws like a line through from like Alaska to Canada and the United States, where it's like every day it's always 70 degrees, like in a 365-year time frame. So you just keep moving to follow the good weather.
That is a great idea.
A really cool idea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's fabulous waking up every morning and having no idea what the day is going to bring me, because I'm in a completely different place and I love it. Yeah. It's never the same day.
Yeah. Just to touch on what you just said, there's so many people that are afraid of the unknown. Yeah. Guess what? It's impossible to have it any way different. And to learn to become, it's like, what's going to happen today? I have no idea. Let's go find out. Like, it's just like, it's just it's a happier way to look at the world. You know, so many people just sit in their closets all day. It's just, I don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to sit in your closet all day. Like, that's what's going to happen. So, you know, it's this quote from Kung Fu Panda. It says, one often meets the Oogway, the turtle. It's my daughter's favorite movie, but it's, one often meets his destiny on a path he takes to avoid it.
I love it.
And so it's perfect.
Right.
I love it.
And you know, our children are brought into this world believing that, and then it is ingrained in them to have routines and do things like everyone else, you know? So we are going to need to end this, but I want to ask you, please give our fans one last piece of advice for others trying to find their happy.
Talk to whomever, like when you're like, okay, I'm really challenged right now. Just stop and breathe for a moment and allow somebody to pop up in your mind, and then go share that challenge with that person.
Oh.
That person either has the answer or can guide you to the next point. And sometimes the guidance won't feel like it's going to, this doesn't feel like it's going to fix my problem. You don't know. It might not. But take a step to something. Change your scenery. Jump in an RV and move every week. Like if you have 10 things, you're like, well, maybe one of these 10 things could be the thing that changes my life. Throw them in a hat, pick one, and just do it. I'm a huge fan of just taking action, seeing what happens, and increasing our level of experience and awareness for ourselves, so that when you pull the next thing out of your hat, you can make a more powerful choice with whatever that item is. That's how we learn. We learn by doing things. And the more we sit in the closet, the more we just, delay the inevitable. It's just delayed. You either make change or you postpone the change. It's one of those two things.
Beautiful.
So just, make a choice to do something today and share it with somebody.
Oh, it was so fabulous speaking with you. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, for sure.
Yeah, gosh. So will you please tell our fans how they can reach out, and if they need help or inspiration, or how they can get in contact with you?
So the easiest way, whatever your social media of choice, just search Ryan Charaba, Charaba. If you want to see a real life example of how I do my work, the podcast, I'm coaching somebody, and in trade, I'm releasing it to the public. So that's what the podcast is. We just released episode 5 this morning, and that's at ryancharaba.com/podcast. That will direct you to iTunes. If you do not have an Apple device or iTunes is not your preference, you can find it on Google Play or Stitcher or TuneIn or the other one. If you have a podcast app on your phone, search my name, Ryan Charaba, or First Wake Ups, and it'll pop up. It's a purple picture. I think it's the same the same headshot that I sent to Cortney that she'll be sharing with this recording. So yeah, just Google my name, send an email, and that's easy. Like, yeah, Ryan Charaba, RyanCharaba.
Thank you, and I will put everything in the show notes as well. Thank you for taking time for us and your growth. I hope you discovered new habits to support your happiness. Please reach out with questions if you need support with Happy Balance Facebook group and balancewithcourtney.com. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you so much.
Until we meet again.
For sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.